Dillon Brooks is back, free to punch as many Lakers in the balls as he wants. USC may have the biggest piece to solve its defensive woes, and the Dodgers look to Tony Gonsolin to return early from his ankle injury. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is April 24th, 2023. I am back in Portland, Oregon for another 3 weeks. Miserable for every moment, but whatever. Beautiful morning. Let's talk some LA sports. If you like the content that we put out, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. Why not? It's a beautiful thing. Before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. Look, if the Kings do not advance out of the first round of the playoffs, they are going to look back on last night's game as a tragic turning point. They lose to the Oilers in overtime 5-4. The series is now tied at 4-4. Edmonton gets home ice back. It is now technically a best of 3 series. The Kings will rue this game because they surrendered a 3-0 lead in the first period. They chased Edmonton's goalie, struggled the rest of the way while Edmonton built themselves back up. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts homered, drove in 4 runs as the Dodgers defeated the Cubs 7-3. That is good times because the Dodgers are back over 500. They are tied for first, and it is the first time that they have won back-to-back games in 17 days. So it's a very uneven Dodgers team, but as long as they're sticking out in first place, we should be pretty content with things. Meanwhile, today, Memphis is going to be playing at the Lakers at 7 o'clock. It is game 4. LA leads the best of 7 series 2-1, and Dillon Brooks is going to play. Now, Brooks, the NBA had decided that he wouldn't get punished any further for punching LeBron James in the nuts during game 3. The ejection will do just fine. I mean, why not, right? It's not like he has a history of punching people in the nuts. Oh wait, he does. He punched Cleveland's Donovan Mitchell in the nuts earlier this season. Look, I've seen people compare cars. I've seen people compare home improvement projects. I don't know if I want to be around when Donovan Mitchell and LeBron James compare testicle bruises. But that's what you get when you have to play an opponent like Dillon Brooks. And it's kind of hilarious because the guy, he's after practice, and of course the media are all surrounding him. They want his opinion on everything. Brooks believes he shouldn't have been ejected. Quote, "The media are making me a villain. The fans are making me a villain. And that just creates a whole different persona. So now you think I intended to hit LeBron James in the nuts." Unquote. Yeah, we do believe you intended to hit LeBron James in the nuts. Donovan Mitchell believes you intended to hit LeBron James in the nuts. LeBron believes you intended to hit him in the nuts. Nobody asked him, of course, because, gentlemen prefer not to talk about their testicles. I'm not a gentleman. So, yeah, you actually intended to hit LeBron James in the nuts. Don't get it twisted. Your team was getting its ass kicked. It was early in the second half. You had talked all this trash about LeBron James and the Lakers. You were getting your comeuppance. You personally were having a bad day. You don't have the skill to match up with LeBron James. So you got frustrated and you punched him in the nuts. Stop it. Let me tell you something a little wider on society. I want to know what it is. Like a lot of times the older generation, and I'm 55, so I don't like being the guy that looks at the younger generation and judges, because I know the dumb stuff I did when I was in my early 20s. But you know what I didn't do in my early 20s? I didn't have a lengthy reputation for nut punching. Even on all the squaring up videos that you see on YouTube and TikTok and whatever social media, where people just randomly fight in the streets, they don't even have to set it as a ground rule. It's understood that you don't punch people in the nuts. So yeah, And here's the second point I would like to make about Dillon Brooks, about the media making you out to be a villain, the fans making him out to be a villain. He wanted to be the villain. He got exactly what he wanted. He said as much when he was talking to the press after LeBron had that lousy game too. Oh, I don't care. He's old. I always poke the bear. You poked the bear. Good guys, protagonists do not poke bears. Antagonists poke bears. The villain of the story pokes the bear. That's not the fans' fault. That's not even the media's fault. That's Dillon Brooks' fault. Just craziness. If you don't want to be called the villain, don't lead the NBA in technical fouls. Don't poke bears in the nuts. Can you lead those two simple tasks? And then people will stop looking at you as a villain. Meanwhile, the Lakers are getting the idea that Memphis kind of plays a little dirty, which is kind of to be expected in the playoffs. Quote, "We knew they were going to be so physical, but they do some dirty plays sometimes. Just got to be careful with that," said Rui Hachimura. Meanwhile, Austin Reeves said he is getting used to being hit in the face by the Grizzlies. How many times was he hit in the face during Game 3? A Lakers runaway victory, I might add. Quote, I think 3, maybe 4, said Reeves. Now, as for tonight's game, we can talk about Dillon Brooks until we're blue in the face, but to be kind of honest with you, pretty much done with the topic. This game pretty much is all about Anthony Davis. That is the very wide mismatch on the roster. And Anthony Davis loves passing out of the double team. It's going to wind up opening shots for a lot of other players. Anthony Davis, he plays like a man possessed. The Lakers take a 3-1 lead. If he doesn't, we could be going back to Tennessee with a tie series. USC last night landed defensive tackle Bear Alexander. Wonderful name, Bear Alexander, from transfer portal from the University of Georgia. The defending national champs, I might add. But we'll get to that point in a moment. Alexander was ranked the 12th best prospect in the transfer portal. And by the way, by the time he committed, the top 11 were already off the board. So he was the best one left. 6'3", 305 pounds, likely an immediate starter for a rebuilt Trojans defensive front. But if we're being honest with ourselves, because it is a get for the Trojans, they have rebuilt their defensive front. It's not just Tuli Tuipulotu and hope for something else from any of the other guys. No. You have an actual legit front 3 right now, maybe front 4. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, it's weird. For example, Bear Alexander, the dude has a lengthy history of school hopping. He went to 5 high schools, for Pete's sake. Then he winds up going to Georgia. He was a freshman. He gets in 12 of the 13 games, 9 tackles, a few sacks involved. He's in the running to start at defensive line for the defending national champions. And then he decides to go into the transfer portal? I have this weird feeling that there's another story that we don't know about yet. Just saying. I don't know for sure. I don't. Now, for his part, Alexander told ESPN that he feels like he fits the defensive scheme of defensive coordinator Alex Grinch. Quote, "I feel as if there wasn't a significant amount of snaps at Georgia. I was more of a pass rush specialist. I wanted to be in a position where I could show my versatility as a player. I could play every down," unquote. So maybe Mr. Alexander is telling us the truth. Maybe. I don't know. But when you have that lengthy history of school hopping and you're already playing for the national champions, and then you want to travel across country to play for a school that had an extremely below average defense set last year, kind of makes you pause a little bit. At least it makes me pause. But there's no question he's going to be a significant upgrade for a defensive front that needed heft, that needed versatility, that needed just nastiness that wasn't there last year. Former Trojans left tackle Cortland Ford has decided to attend the University of Kentucky. So he's gone. Best of luck to him in the future. We have a surprise in store at fifth starter for the LA Dodgers. Tony Gonsolin. Remember him? Dave Roberts told The Athletic that Gonsolin, who wasn't supposed to be back for a couple of more weeks, Gonsolin will likely pitch 4 innings against the Pittsburgh Pirates on Wednesday. Gonsolin, by the way, was supposed to be the fifth starter. He got injured with the ankle before the year. They've had 3 other people supposedly going to start at in the 5 hole, and now it's back to the beginning, back to Tony Gonsolin. LA is in a conundrum in terms of its offense, though. They lead the National League with 43 home runs. Max Muncy has 11 of them. Quote, obviously you don't want to live and die by it, but right now it's helping us stay afloat, unquote, said Mookie Betts. And it is a problem because LA is 24th in the NL in batting average. I'm sorry, 24th in the major leagues in batting average. They're claiming that all the rule changes that went in during the offseason, the banning of the shift and the pitch clock and this, that, and the other, and the larger bases, that they wanted to start to shift to having some more offensive balance, regular, good old-fashioned base hits, speed, taking the extra base, things like that. But they're not getting it. They're still relying on the long ball. So either they're not trying to change, or it's like trying to teach an old dog new tricks. Let me know what you think. Chris Haynes of the Belcher Report writes that Kawhi Leonard's knee is swelling, so translation, don't count on him for Game 5. But I have a question, if you're a Clipper fan. No snark intended. I'm genuinely curious. All along, we have assumed that load management is due to sloth. Like Kawhi just wants a day off, right? And because of that, you get all these hot takes, particularly on ESPN, even in the last few days, despite the fact that I believe Kawhi is legitimately injured. You're getting these hot takes on ESPN. Oh my God, he's the worst superstar ever in NBA history. He's a lousy teammate. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if? What if the question isn't whether or not Kawhi Leonard wants to play basketball? What if Kawhi Leonard knew that his knees could explode at any time? And how does that play into his career? What if you're Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, right? You're wealthy beyond your wildest imaginations. You own an NBA team. You love this NBA team. There's no question Steve Ballmer loves his Clippers. And you know, though, you're playing second fiddle to the Lakers. So what if somebody comes up to you and says, I have a player who could put your team on the map with the LA Lakers. Put you in position for at least a title, maybe more. Could. But his knees could explode at any time. Just burst into flames like the end of a Hollywood action movie, like a Fast and Furious movie. His knees could just explode. Could be the first game he plays for you. Could be in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Just like Jack Bauer, the moment you sign this guy, you're going to be knowing that that clock is ticking. But he puts you on par with the Lakers. Do you sign him? Just asking. I don't know the answer. The Major League Soccer primary transfer window closes today, and if the LA Galaxy do not make a move, and of course LAFC can as well, but if the LA Galaxy don't make a move, they will only be allowed to acquire players within the United States and Canada for the rest of the year. That is a result of a cheating scandal which did not cost team president Chris Klein his job. #Klein out. Mark Schroller, a 6'6", 285 offensive tackle from Mission Viejo High School, has committed to play for UCLA. Schroller's dad played for UCLA in the 1990s. I believe his name was Kurt. Anyway, Mark Schroller said UCLA was always his dream school. He'll be joining with the class of 2024. He is a 3-star prospect. And Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams, confessed that Sean McVay hates scouting. If they're watching the college tapes for the upcoming NFL draft, Snead is watching the tapes. He's trying to evaluate players, and McVay just can't help himself. He's still breaking down offensive and defensive concepts. He's not even looking at the players. Said Snead, quote, he's one of those where you sit down to watch a couple of plays in and he's already, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing to this safety. They're putting that safety in such a hard spot, unquote. He's already in the nuance of the technical. By the way, the NFL draft kicks off on Thursday. I'm considering putting out previews for the Rams, Chargers, USC, and UCLA. But we'll talk about that at another time. You let me know what you think about these topics in the comments thread. You let me know what you think about the Lakers going into Game 4. Let me know what you think about USC's defensive line. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.